I have no idea if I'm ever gonna release a review on time ever again. I'm so sorry. From now on, please just expect that my review will always be at least kind of around a weekish late, and by the earliest if lucky, it should be only 2 or 3 days late. Another thing is that the unit this time is Phenn, which is a unit that is not on the JP server yet, which means that the info I'm giving out usually on other unit review is based on the JP4 site, but now since this unit is not in JP yet, some of the info I'm giving out on this info is just assumption based on observation on my part after weeks after he's been out, so if there's anything wrong, I apologize. Our newest unit this time is Phenn, one of the Octopath Zero unit, one of the main characters in Octopath Zero 2 along with Stia and Loana, and he is a bolt DPS who can also provide support for your teams. Phenn has a high number of hit count to his attack, both his 5-hit bow that become a 10-hit if the enemy is not broken, and his passive where when anyone is hitting him, he will retaliate with a 3-hit bow that can hit axe counter attack. So if you are spamming the 10-hit and you let the enemy keep hitting Phenn is gonna hit off a lot of enemy shields. And also, he deals quite a lot of damage. You have the option to just deal multi-hit damage nuke with his ER skill, however, the more preferred option with Phenn is to use his ultimate nuke, which is the ultimate buff that also grants 100% potency up to for certain class, and also increases his own damage cap by a lot, and this attack on his ultimate also has an innate 5000 plus damage cap up, so Phenn is gonna hitting for a very high amount of damage with his ultimate. The class that he benefit and synergize out the most is Warrior, Apothecary, Hunters, and Cleric. So preferably you would run him with any of these characters because he buffed them, while also if any of those characters lose the attack, they will also grant Phenn a buff to his passive, granting him HP barrier, and also Perseverance buff that also buff off his damage later too. Other than DPSing, he is also a really good cover tank like Obreak and Cecil. He can cast a skill once and then he will cover attack from any other allies for 4 turns and also grant a 60% damage reduction on top of that. And on top of that, he has the HP barrier gain to his passive, so he is very good at tanking too. And the main thing that he is good for is that he provides very high amount of damage cap and also potency up to those 4 classes I mentioned above, which is Warrior, Hunter, Apothecary, Hunter, and Cleric. He grants them totally from his ultimate to his passive 150k damage cap up, and also he grants those classes 100% potency up, so. As for how to play Phenn, you just spam his 10-hit bow, specifically 5-hit to become 5-hit if the enemy is not broken, and then if your team is needed and your team is lacking damage buff, uses Wishvale's future skill to grant buff to the entire team for more damage, and Wishvale pass to protect your team from damage if your team is in the danger of dying. But these are optional though, you can skip this step if you want to, if your team doesn't really need the damage or the protection. After that, on the turn that the enemy is broken, use his 200% ultimate to grant buff to the entire team, damage cap, and also potency up to those 4 classes. And also, Phenn himself will also deal a very high amount of damage thanks to his damage cap he gained from his ultimate and also the multiplier from his passive. He's gonna hit for about 2 million-ish per hit, so it's very good. Although one thing though, Phenn lack weakness exploit, he only hit... Although one thing though, Phenn lack any form of weakness exploit, even his ultimate only hit bow, so you really want to run him with someone that can give him weakness bypass. Whether that be through Dark Priestess or Medusa EX, or I would say Setsa is good too, but Setsa, even though he's Hunter and he synergizes really well with him, Setsa give elemental weakness exploit, as in like he implant all the elemental weakness, so it's kind of hard for Phenn to take advantage of that because most of his attack is only hitting physical, so. Now as for his recommended skill, Silent Ambush, you always want to run this on him because it's a 10-hit bow, always 10-hit bow, only when the enemy is not broken, so please don't use this for damage. You have other options for damage either through his skill or his ultimate, or you can also just use his single target normal skill nuke right here, Scorched Lament End, which also deal quite high damage, but it also remove your Perseverance stack, so you have to build it up again through the form of your teammates attacking, so. And last, you can use Wishvale Future to buff your entire team, all allies 20% attack up and also 20% damage up for sword, axe, bow, and staff. The skill Scorched Lament's End and Wishvale Futures are replaceable though. For Scorched Lament's End, it's just a single target nuke, and Phenn has other form of single target nuke. through his EX skill, through his ultimate, so you can replace his skill with something else. Same with Wishvale Future. If your team already has some other buffer already, then you don't need him. So you can replace his skill with something else, like his Torch Point, which is like an AoE 5 hit, or his cover skill, which is a Wishvale Pass, that protect allies and also counter back with 3-hit ball from Phenn. Now for Awakening priority, to go for Awakening Ultimate first. Its ultimate is really good, it's a damaging nuke and also grant buff to the entire team, potency up and damage cap up. It would be nice to use this multiple times per battle, and it also let you charge this to 200% faster, which also let Phenn activate his 200% ult version, which let this be a 2-hit instead for his ultimate rather than just a 1-hit. His A1 is good for the extra damage, extra stat is always nice in DPS, and A4 is not really that good compared to some of the other character A4, so it's not really worth it to go for his A4. Now as for review, Phenn get 8 out of 10. He is good, but he's not on the same level of impact as the other OT0 character, which is Zerg. Zerg is like, he has more impact with his whole rainbow FUA thing, while Phenn is just being good damage and good buff, but overall he doesn't really do anything unique that make him stand out though. Now as for team he is good with, he is really good in bow because bow DPS usually lack a lot of form of passive potency up, so with character like Keisha or with the Dodena EX, or even with the old DPS like Huge Up, he will work really well with all of those bow DPS and he's a very great support for them. Another team though, since he can buff the other 3 class too, he isn't on the same level of impact as those team. The warriors that are meta right now is still Dark Knight, and he isn't needed. He doesn't need Phenn. Like Phenn is good, but he doesn't need him as much as the bow team need Phenn, because like Phenn does too much for the bow team. And other team, including staff team is not really that strong, and so he's not helping much. And Apothecary team only has the Vaal, but the Vaal isn't on par with any other DPS team right now. So although I would say that there is a problem, kind of a weakness with Phenn, is that most DPS these days, and in the future eventually, they all have a form of a self-built-in potency up. So the potency up that is granted by Phenn isn't really needed. The damage cap granted by Phenn is needed. It's useful though, it's 150k at max, and it is helpful, but I don't think it's not that useful to the point where you must pull him, so. Now, as for other character in the future that can synergize with Phenn, Setzer is good. He is a hunter and his Phenn's gonna buff his damage by a lot, but Setzer is he is only giving elemental weakness exploit. So for Phenn who does not hit elemental weakness, he does not get the full benefit from the weakness bypassing like Medusa EX or Dark Priestess give. Richard EX is a merchant, but he does count as all class, so he does work with Phenn. However, he already has a passive form of 100% potency up, and same with Final Emperor, who has multi-physical weapon too. Also has a built-in passive 100% potency up. So again, these characters only benefit from Phenn in these stat buff, and also mostly notably the 150k damage cap. Other than that, Phenn doesn't do much for these characters, but I still think he is good enough to not be considered a filler unit. His damage right now is on par with the other FF6 Collide DPS character, and the buff that and support he gives both team is really nice too, and for other team is not as impactful, but it is useful. Overall, you can skip him and you'll be fine, but he is a good unit though.